My beloved child, I called your name 3 times today, not because I forgot you, not because heaven was uncertain, and not because I was practicing the sound of your name. I called you because your spirit had grown too comfortable inside the prison of delay. I called you because too many doors have remained shut for too long. I called you because the silence around your life was beginning to convince you that nothing would ever change. But hear me clearly now. Heaven refused to let you stay where you are. Before this message ends, something inside you will break free forever. The chains you have carried quietly, the fear you have hidden behind forced smiles, the exhaustion that nobody noticed, the nights you cried without words, all of it has reached its limit. The delay is over. I am not warning you anymore. I'm moving. You thought the silence meant abandonment, but it was actually preparation for a divine takeover. While you were questioning my presence, I was arranging moments that your human eyes could not yet understand. While you were mourning what closed against you, I was building the keys that would force those doors to open again. Every closed door is about to hear the authority of my voice commanding it to move out of your way. Stop scrolling and listen carefully, because this is not motivation. This is not a random emotional speech placed before you by accident. This is a heavenly summons with your name on it. You were not chosen to stay hidden, ignored, rejected, overlooked, or defeated. I did not create you merely to survive endless battles and carry endless disappointment. Your season changes now. Do you understand what I am saying to you? The reason you clicked this was already written before today even began. Before the sun rose over your life this morning, I already knew this moment would happen. Before your tears fell last night, I've already prepared this message to find you. I know how tired you have become. I know how many times you almost gave up because nothing seemed to move no matter how much you prayed. I saw the frustration you buried deep inside your chest while pretending to everyone else that you were fine. But I tell you now, what if the pain you survived was only proof that your destiny is too powerful to be destroyed? What if every attack against your mind, your peace, your future, your confidence, and your purpose was only evidence that the enemy was terrified of who you are becoming? My child, there is a reason hell fought you so hard. Ordinary people are not attacked the way you have been attacked. The enemy does not waste energy on empty destinies. The darkness surrounding your life was never proof that I abandoned you. It was proof that your future carries something heaven cannot allow to die. You wondered why betrayal found you. You wondered why doors suddenly shut in your face. You wondered why people left without explanation. You wondered why opportunities disappeared right when you needed them most. But now I need you to understand something that will change the way you see your entire journey. The enemy was trying to exhaust you before you reached the moment standing directly in front of you now. He wanted your spirit to become so tired that when I finally opened the right door, you would no longer have the strength to walk through it. Why he failed. You are still here. You are still breathing. You are still listening. And because you survive it, heaven is about to move in ways that will leave you speechless. I know the secret conversations you have with yourself when nobody else is around. I know the moments when fear whispered that maybe your life would never change. I know the nights when you questioned whether your prayers were reaching me at all. I heard every silent cry hidden behind your worship. I watched you smile in front of people while carrying storms nobody could see. But listen to me carefully now. Your silence ends here. The season where you kept shrinking yourself to survive is over. The season where you questioned your worth is ending. The season where you beg for crumbs while carrying the spirit of a king or queen inside you is finished. I did not create you to live trapped beneath fear. I did not place purpose inside you just to let discouragement bury it alive. I called your name 3 times because your destiny cannot remain asleep any longer. There are things happening around you right now that you cannot yet fully see. Doors are shifting. Hearts are changing. Situations that look dead are quietly being rearranged by my hand. When you thought nothing was happening, heaven was moving behind every delay. I was positioning people. I was removing obstacles. I was exposing hidden enemies. I was protecting you from paths that would have destroyed your future. Some doors closed because I refused to let you settle for less than what I prepared for you. Some people disappeared because they could not go where I am taking you. Some disappointments were actually protection wearing the disguise of pain. But now the season changes. What I delayed before, I am releasing now. What I kept hidden before, I am uncovering now. What remained silent before, I am speaking over now. My beloved child, you must stop measuring your future by your current condition. Stop deciding what is possible based on what your eyes can presently see. I am the God who opens seas when there is no road. I am the God who resurrects dreams people declared dead. I am the God who takes rejected people and places crowns upon their heads in front of everyone who doubted them. Your current struggle is not your final identity. Your pain is not your permanent address. Your confusion is not your destiny. You are standing at the edge of a shift so powerful that even you will struggle to recognize the person you are becoming after I finish this next season of your life. Comment, Father, you carried me all the way if he's been your strength in every step. Do not ignore what you feel stirring inside your spirit right now. That sudden pull in your heart is not coincidence. That urgency you feel while listening is not emotion alone. It is my spirit awakening something that has slept too long inside you. I am calling you higher. Higher than fear. Higher than limitation. Higher than the opinions of people who never understood your calling. You have spent too much time surviving environments that were suffocating your spirit. But now I am calling you into freedom. I am calling you into movement. I am calling you into authority. The old version of you cannot enter the next season I prepared. That fearful version must break. That doubtful version must surrender. That exhausted version must heal. Because where I am taking you, you will need confidence greater than your fear. My child, listen carefully because this moment matters more than you realize. Some people will hear these words and walk away unchanged. Some will ignore the call because remaining comfortable feels easier than transforming. But you cannot afford to stay asleep anymore. Too much has already been invested into your destiny. Too many prayers have already been spoken over your life. Too many battles have already been survived. Heaven did not preserve you through all that pain just to abandon you before your breakthrough arrived. No. I preserved you because your appointed time is closer than ever before. I called your name because I needed your attention before the shift began. I needed your spirit awake before the doors opened. I needed you prepared before the blessings arrived. And now hear me clearly. Every door that closed against you is about to hear my voice. Doors closed by rejection will open. Doors closed by fear will open. Doors closed by delay will open. Doors closed by spiritual warfare will open. Doors closed by insecurity will open. I am forcing open what hell tried to seal shut. Opportunities you thought were lost forever are returning with greater power. Peace you thought would never return is coming back stronger than before. Joy is finding your house again. Strength is returning to your spirit again. Confidence is rising inside you again. Hope is breathing inside you again. Your season shifts now. So lift your head, my beloved child. Stop speaking death over your future. Stop agreeing with fear. Stop preparing for disappointment as if failure has authority over your life. I am the one writing your story, not your enemies, not your past, not your pain, and not the voices that told you it was too late. Nothing about your life is over. In fact, heaven declares that your greatest chapter is beginning now. I called your name 3 times today because this was the moment everything needed to change. Not tomorrow, not next year. Doubt. And before this message leaves your spirit, remember this forever. I did not call you 3 times to comfort you. I called you to awaken you. My beloved child, stop what you are doing right now and listen to me carefully. Do not let this moment pass you by like every other ordinary moment in your day, because this is not ordinary. This is not random. This is not another voice competing for your attention. I am speaking directly to you, and I need you to hear me with more than your ears. I need you to hear me with your spirit. I called your name 3 times today, and I did not do it carelessly. I did not do it by accident. I did not call you because I was uncertain whether you would answer. I called your name 3 times because heaven itself is trying to interrupt the direction your life has been moving. There are moments in life when destiny whispers quietly, but there are other moments when destiny must shake the soul awake before time is lost. This is one of those moments. I am not merely trying to encourage you today. I am trying to awaken you before the next chapter begins. You felt something unusual today, did you not? A strange pull in your spirit. A feeling you could not fully explain. Moments where your mind drifted away from the noise around you and towards something deeper. You tried to ignore it. You told yourself you were only emotional, only tired, only overthinking. But my child, that stirring inside you was me. I have been calling to you repeatedly because the time for delay has ended. Heaven can no longer remain silent while you continue settling for survival when you were created for purpose. Too much is waiting on the other side of your obedience for me to allow you to remain asleep spiritually. That is why I interrupted your day. That is why your spirit suddenly feels restless. That is why this message found you exactly when it did. Nothing about this is coincidence. Before you opened your eyes this morning, I'd already arranged this encounter. Before your tears fell last night, I already knew I would speak directly into this moment. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can donate to us, given link in description or pinned comment to show your support. My beloved child, listen closely because what I am about to say carries urgency from heaven itself. Destiny cannot wait for your comfort anymore. The future I prepared for you is too important to remain trapped behind fear, exhaustion, delay, and distraction. I know you have grown tired. I know disappointment has weakened your expectations. I know there were days when you silently asked yourself whether anything would ever truly change. But I need you to understand that the silence you experienced was never proof of my absence. It was preparation. It was positioning. It was the hidden work of heaven unfolding beyond what your natural eyes could understand. While you thought nothing was happening, I was moving pieces into place. While you question whether I heard your prayers, I was already preparing answers that required perfect timing. And now that timing has arrived, that is why I called your name 3 times today. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Because your spirit needed to recognize that this moment carries divine urgency. There are some moments in life when heaven quietly observes, but there are other moments when heaven forcefully intervenes because a soul is standing too close to missing its appointed season. My child, you are standing at such a moment now. I could not allow you to continue walking through life believing that your struggle was permanent. I could not remain silent while fear convinced you that your best days were behind you. I could not watch your destiny slowly suffocate beneath disappointment. So I interrupted your routine. I stepped directly into your normal day because normal life was beginning to bury the extraordinary calling placed upon you before you were born. You have spent too much time trying to survive environments that were draining your spirit. Too much time doubting your worth because of rejection. Too much time carrying silent battles without realizing that heaven was preparing to shift everything around you. My child, there is a reason this message feels heavier than ordinary words. There is a reason your heart is responding so deeply right now. It is because your spirit recognizes my voice. Even when your mind questions, your soul remembers me. Even when fear tries to speak louder, something inside you still trembles at my presence. That trembling is not weakness. It is awakening. For too long you have ignored the deeper call inside your life. For too long you convinced yourself that waiting was safer than moving. For too long you allowed disappointment to lower your expectations. But heaven is saying enough. The season of standing still and fear has reached its end. I am calling you forward now, not later. Not after everything becomes easy. Not after every fear disappears. Now, do you understand how carefully this moment was arranged? There are millions of voices surrounding you every day, yet somehow these words found you. Somehow your attention stopped here. Somehow your spirit became still long enough to listen. That was not an accident. Heaven orchestrated this interruption because your destiny could not afford another season of delay. There are doors waiting for you that cannot open until you awaken fully to who you are. There are blessings prepared for you that cannot enter a mindset still chained by fear. There are assignments attached to your life that require spiritual boldness, not constant hesitation. I did not create you to spend your entire life questioning whether you are enough. I created you carrying authority, purpose, vision, and power. But pain made you forget. Rejection made you doubt. Delay made you tired. So now I am reminding you who you are before the next season begins. My beloved child, I know the secret frustration you carry inside your heart. I know how exhausting it has become pretending to remain strong while internally feeling lost. I know the quiet disappointment you feel each time another door closes. I know the questions you never speak aloud because you are afraid of sounding weak. But hear me clearly now. The closed doors were not the end of your story. Many of those doors closed because they were too small for the future I prepared for you. Some relationships ended because they could not survive where I am taking you. Some delays existed because your spirit needed strengthening before receiving what you prayed for. You thought heaven was withholding from you, but heaven was actually protecting you from receiving things before the appointed time. And now the appointed time is approaching faster than you realize. This is why your spirit suddenly feels unsettled. This is why your heart feels pulled between fear and expectation. Deep inside, You can sense that something is changing. You can feel movement beginning even if you cannot yet explain it. My child, that feeling is real. The atmosphere around your life is shifting. The spiritual season over your life is changing. What once felt blocked will begin opening. What once felt delayed will begin moving. What once felt impossible will begin unfolding unexpectedly. But before those doors open, your spirit had to awaken first. You had to hear my voice clearly before the noise of the next season arrived. That is why I interrupted you now. Because if I waited longer, fear would continue convincing you to remain where you are instead of stepping into where I am calling you. I need you to understand the seriousness of this moment. This is not just another emotional experience that fades tomorrow. This is a prophetic interruption. Heaven itself is confronting the limitations that have surrounded your life. I am confronting the fear that kept you hidden. I am confronting the doubt that weakened your confidence. I am confronting the lies that told you your life would never change. My child, I did not preserve you through all those battles only to abandon you before your breakthrough arrived. Every tear you cried was seen. Every sleepless night was recorded. Every prayer whispered in exhaustion reached me. And now heaven responds. The enemy tried to keep you distracted because distraction is one of the greatest weapons against destiny. If he could keep your attention trapped in survival, you would never fully pursue purpose. If he could keep you emotionally exhausted, you would stop expecting miracles. If he could convince you that delay meant denial, you would eventually stop listening for my voice. But I refuse to let that happen. That is why I called your name repeatedly today. Because your spirit needed to wake up before your opportunity arrived. You needed to recognize that heaven is not distant from your situation. Heaven is actively moving around your life right now. My beloved child, listen carefully to what I am about to tell you. The next season of your life will require courage greater than the last season demanded. You cannot carry the same fearful mindset into the future I prepared for you. You cannot keep shrinking yourself to fit environments I already outgrew for you. You cannot keep apologizing for the calling placed upon your life. The time has come for you to rise emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and personally into the person I always created you to become. And yes, transformation feels uncomfortable. Awakening feels overwhelming. Destiny often interrupts comfort before it changes lives. But I would rather interrupt your comfort now than allow you to miss the future waiting for you. So do not ignore this feeling in your spirit. Do not dismiss these words as coincidence. Do not return to sleep after heaven itself has called your name. I called you 3 times today because one call was not enough to break through the walls fear builds around your heart. I called you because destiny is standing at your door. I called you because your season is shifting faster than you realize. I called you because the silence is ending. And I called you because heaven refuses to let you stay where you are any longer. My beloved child, come closer to me now and listen carefully, because what I am about to say is not distant from your pain. I know there were moments when you believed nobody truly understood what you were carrying inside. I know there were nights when you stared into darkness while everyone else slept peacefully, and your mind refused to rest because the weight on your heart felt too heavy to escape. You smiled during the day while silently breaking apart at night. You answered people with "I'm fine" while fighting battles that words could never fully explain. But I need you to hear me clearly now. I saw every silent battle you fought. Not one moment escaped my eyes. Not one tear disappeared unnoticed. Not one sigh of exhaustion went unheard in heaven. Type I choose you again and again, Jesus, if your heart will never turn back from him. I saw you lying awake at night replaying painful memories over and over again, trying to understand why certain people hurt you the way they did. I saw how betrayal changed something deep inside your heart. You trusted people who promised they would never leave, yet they became the very ones who wounded you the most. Some walked away when you needed them most. Some spoke against you after you defended them. Some misunderstood your heart while pretending to understand your pain. And what hurt you most was not only what they did, but the fact that you stayed silent about it because you were tired of explaining yourself to people determined to misunderstand you anyway. But my child, while people judged what they could not understand, heaven watched your suffering closely. I watched every moment you held yourself together when your soul wanted to collapse. I saw the exhaustion nobody else noticed. I saw how tired you became carrying responsibilities that felt too heavy for one person alone. I watched you continue showing up for others while secretly wondering who would ever show up for you. I saw you pour love into people while your own heart slowly emptied itself trying to survive. I saw how mentally drained you became from constantly fighting battles nobody else could see. Some people thought you were distant, but they never understood how exhausted your spirit truly was. Some called you weak because they only saw your breaking point, not the thousands of moments you stayed strong before finally collapsing in private. But I saw all of it, my child. Heaven saw every hidden moment. I know the loneliness you carried. Not the loneliness of simply being alone, but the deeper loneliness of being unseen while surrounded by people. I know what it felt like sitting in rooms full of voices while silently feeling disconnected from everyone around you. I know how many times you wished someone would notice that you were not okay without you having to say it out loud. You became so used to carrying pain quietly that eventually people assumed silence meant strength. But silence was not strength all the time. Sometimes silence was survival. Sometimes silence was the only way you knew how to protect what little energy you had left. And still, through every lonely moment, I remained beside you even when you could not feel me near. My beloved child, I saw the financial stress that kept your mind restless. I saw you calculating numbers repeatedly, wondering how everything would work out. I saw the fear you buried whenever bills increased while opportunities seemed delayed. I heard the quiet prayers you whispered asking me to make a way when you no longer knew what to do. I saw the embarrassment you felt when you struggled silently while pretending everything was stable. I saw how hard you tried not to burden others with your worries because you already felt like too much for people to handle emotionally. But listen to me now. Your struggle never made you less valuable. Your hardship never made you forgotten. Your waiting season never meant I abandoned you. Even when provision looked delayed, heaven was still working behind the scenes of your life. I saw every emotional breakdown you hid from the world. I saw the moments when your chest felt heavy for reasons you could not explain. I saw you crying quietly so nobody else would hear. I saw the nights when you buried your face into your pillow trying to silence your pain because you did not want anyone asking questions you were too exhausted to answer. I know there were moments when you felt completely overwhelmed by life itself. Moments when your thoughts became too loud. Moments when disappointment stacked upon disappointment until your spirit felt numb. You wondered how much more you could endure before finally breaking apart completely. But my child, even during your lowest moments, I held you together in ways you never realized. There were days when you almost gave up emotionally, but somehow you kept moving forward anyway. There were moments when your heart felt shattered, but you still managed to survive another day. Do you understand how much strength that required? You keep looking at yourself and seeing weakness because you remember the moments you cried. But heaven looks at you and sees survival. Heaven sees endurance. Heaven sees a soul that survived storms that should have destroyed them completely. The fact that you are still here listening right now is proof that my hand never left your life. Many times you came closer to breaking than anyone around you realized. Yet somehow you survived every attack against your mind, every disappointment against your heart, every betrayal against your trust, every delay against your hope. My beloved child, people misunderstood you because they only saw fragments of your story. Some called you distant when you were actually healing. Some called you cold when you were simply exhausted from being hurt repeatedly. Some judged your silence because they never knew how many nights you spent fighting emotional battles alone. People often judge pain they have never personally carried. But while they misunderstood you, heaven understood completely. I knew the real reason behind your tears. I knew why certain words affected you so deeply. I knew why your smile sometimes hid sadness too heavy to explain. And even when others failed to show compassion, I remained near, watching over every broken piece of your heart. I know there were times when you questioned your worth because rejection surrounded your life for too long. Doors closed. Opportunities disappeared. People overlooked you. You watched others receive what you prayed for while you remained stuck in waiting seasons that felt endless. Sometimes you wondered if something was wrong with you. Sometimes you secretly blamed yourself for things that were never your fault. But my child, rejection from people never changes your value in heaven. The opinions of others cannot erase the purpose I placed upon your life before you were born. What people ignored, heaven protected. What people overlooked, heaven still called chosen. I saw how hard you fought to remain kind after being hurt. I saw how much effort it took not to let bitterness consume your spirit. You had every reason to become angry at life, angry at people, even angry at me. Yet despite your pain, there remained something soft inside your heart that refused to fully give up on hope. Even during your darkest seasons, you still searched for me. Even while exhausted, you still whispered prayers. Even after disappointment, you still held on to the possibility that maybe one day things could finally change. My child, that quiet faith moved heaven more than you realize. There were moments you felt emotionally abandoned. Moments when you begged for relief while silence surrounded you. You wondered why I did not immediately remove every burden from your life. But I need you to understand something now that your pain once prevented you from seeing clearly. I never abandoned you in those seasons. I was carrying you through them. There were battles happening around your life that you never even saw because my hand protected you from destruction greater than what reached you. The enemy wanted your pain to completely consume your identity. You wanted disappointment to convince you that your future was hopeless. You wanted exhaustion to silence your purpose forever. But he failed because I never allowed him to fully destroy what belongs to me. My beloved child, I know you became tired of being strong all the time. Tired of pretending you could handle everything alone. Tired of constantly surviving instead of truly living. But hear me clearly now. Your survival was not meaningless. Every battle you endured built strength inside your spirit that will carry you into the next season of your life. You survived heartbreak that should have destroyed your ability to love. You survived betrayal that should have turned your heart bitter. You survived pressure that should have crushed your confidence completely. You survived loneliness that should have emptied your hope. And through every storm, heaven stayed near. So stop believing the lie that your tears made you weak. Your tears were evidence that you kept fighting even when life became overwhelming. Stop believing the lie that your emotional struggles made you less worthy. Heaven never loved you less during your broken moments. In fact, I grew even closer to you then. I sat beside you during every sleepless night. I remained present during every silent breakdown. I stayed close while you questioned whether anyone truly cared. And now I am telling you this because I need your heart to finally understand something important. You were never abandoned. Not once. Not during the nights you cried yourself to sleep. Not during the days you felt invisible. Not during the seasons when life felt unbearably heavy. I saw every silent battle you carried, my child. And through all of it, I never stopped holding you in my hands. My beloved child, listen carefully now because I need you to understand why I called your name 3 times today. It was not random. It was not symbolic without meaning. Heaven does nothing carelessly. Every call carried purpose. Every moment carried urgency. Every stirring in your spirit was intentional. I did not repeat your name because I was uncertain whether you belonged to me. I repeated your name because your destiny stands at a moment too important for distraction, fear, or delay to continue controlling your life. There are seasons when I whisper gently, and there are seasons when I call repeatedly because time itself is shifting around a person's future. You are standing inside such a season now. Your spirit feels it. Your heart senses it. Something inside you knows life cannot continue the same way much longer. That feeling is not imagination. It is the sound of heaven calling you forward. The first time I called your name today, I called to awaken you spiritually. My child, you have been surviving for so long that parts of your spirit slowly fell asleep without you even realizing it. Pain exhausted you. Delay distracted you. Disappointment numbed you. You continued functioning outwardly, but inwardly your expectation began dying quietly. You prayed, but sometimes without believing anything would truly change. You worshipped while secretly carrying exhaustion too deep to explain. You moved through daily life carrying hidden heaviness while your spirit slowly lost sensitivity to my voice. But I refused to let you remain spiritually asleep while your destiny stood waiting nearby. So I called your name. Not softly, not passively. I called your name because your soul needed awakening before the next chapter could begin. You became too accustomed to surviving environments that drained your peace. Too comfortable carrying burdens I never created you to carry forever. Too familiar with disappointment. Somewhere along the journey, your spirit stopped expecting miracles the way it once did. You learned how to survive pain, but survival was never your final purpose. I created you to walk in authority, intimacy, boldness, and spiritual clarity. Yet the enemy slowly convinced you that exhaustion was normal and delay was permanent. That is why my first call carried awakening. I needed to shake the dust off your spirit before fear convinced you to settle permanently beneath your calling. My child, heaven is trying to wake up the version of you that still believes impossible things can happen. The version of you that once trusted me without overthinking every step. The version of you that still carried holy expectation before disappointment tried to silence it. The second time I called your name today, I called to pull you away from fear and delay. Listen carefully because this part matters deeply. Fear has been stealing time from your destiny. Not only fear of failure, but fear of moving forward after being hurt before. Fear of trusting again. Fear of hoping again. Fear of stepping toward opportunities because disappointment taught you to expect pain instead of breakthrough. You told yourself you were being cautious, but often you were simply protecting yourself from the possibility of heartbreak. My child, I understand why fear entered your heart. I saw the betrayals. I saw the rejection. I saw the moments life knocked the breath out of your spirit unexpectedly. But if fear controls your decisions, it will slowly imprison your future. Comment you are holy, worthy, and forever my Lord if His reign burns brightly in your heart. And share this video